The Lincoln Nautilus got some pretty big upgrades for the 2024 model year. Reworked exterior, very largely reworked interior. There was also a new powertrain introduced, and that's a 2-liter traditional hybrid, so FHEV. And in this video, I want to unpack the Lincoln Nautilus, figure out if the hybrid is worth the buy, while also talking about the changes that are coming to 2025. For the 2024 model year, pricing for the Nautilus starts at $64,400 versus $50,004 down in the States. Having said that, the 2025 pricing for Canada is going to be slightly less. For the US, it's going to be slightly more. There are also a few key differences between the 2024 and the upcoming 2025 model. So the 2025 is no longer going to have park assist. That's one of the big changes, and that's happening with a lot of Lincoln and Ford vehicles. They're yanking park assist out. I guess not enough people are using it. It obviously is a useful feature if you've got mobility issues. So if you do have mobility issues, you need park assist. You can find it in the 2024 Nautilus and then the previous gen model as well. On top of that, the entry-level Premier trim level no longer has a mini spare tire standard. It's optional, but outside of that, the Reserve and Black label still will have that mini spare. The wheel choices between the 2024 and the 2025 model are going to remain the same. Your 19-inch on the low end, up to 22-inch on the high end with varying styles. This one has the available jet package, so it's got the 22-inch wheel, which looks solid. And you'd think a 22-inch wheel wouldn't drive or handle that nicely, but the Nautilus handles incredibly well. The hybrid is amazing. It's incredibly quiet all around, like surprisingly quiet. You're only going to find the Nautilus available all-wheel drive. So it works out for me perfectly because being in Canada, snow 4 or 5 months out of the year, having all-wheel drive is incredible for wintertime driving. It is better overall handling too. I really like the redesign that Lincoln did for the front end of the Nautilus. From the bubbled grille, the black highlights there look stunning. The LED light bar that stretches across looks great. And it pairs up nicely with that Lincoln badge in the front end that glows beautifully at night. There's a lot of technology that you're going to find inside of the Nautilus. There's the forward sensing system that's available. There's also a front-facing camera that goes along with the side-mounted cameras and backup cam for a full 360 view. The front bumper there has a nice glossy highlight, and there are black gloss highlights that follow all the way throughout the front end. Underneath the hood of the Nautilus, there are 2 different powertrains that are available. The standard engine choice inside of the vehicle is a 2-liter turbocharged engine. It pushes out 250 horsepower, 275 pound-feet of torque, which is pretty solid. And then there's this, the new 2-liter FHEV, so a hybrid electric. It doesn't have a plug-in, but it charges the battery on the fly, and it's paired with an eCVT transmission instead. Very different from a traditional CVT, but there was a great YouTube video that I was watching explaining how the new eCVT transmission works. So I'm going to drop a link down in the description of the video if you want a better understanding of how this system works, but it's incredible. And power-wise, it pushes out 310 horsepower and 300 pound-feet of torque. It's pretty damn impressive at the same time. So I want to get back up to highway speeds here, and I'm going to go into my Excite mode, so that's sport mode, and let's make it happen. Going in 3, 2, and... $100. All right. So the power is definitely there. Like 310 horsepower, 300 pound-feet of torque. That's going to be good enough for most people. So while the new engine is not quite as powerful as the previous 2.7 liter, having a hybrid with better fuel economy is a thumbs up in my books. And we know that it's a hybrid because there are orange wires, high voltage, all over the place. If you're doing work yourself, you can easily top up your wiper fluid and then check and change your oil. The warranty inside of the Lincoln world is also pretty solid. The basic is a 4-year, 80,000 kilometer, 50,000 mile. The powertrain gets bumped up to a 6-year, 110,000 kilometer, 70,000 mile. And then the hybrid electric components are covered for 8-year, 160,000 kilometer, 100,000 mile. you just want to make sure that you take care of your ride. Do regular scheduled maintenance, regular oil changes to make sure this car takes care of you. The rear end of the Nautilus also looks solid. I like all of the glossy black highlights that you can see throughout. You do also have the option of towing inside of the Nautilus, but it's only a Class 1 receiver that you can install aftermarket. So max towing capacity, regardless of whether you're looking at the 2-liter turbo or the 2-liter hybrid, is going to be 2,000 pounds. So if you do need to tow more and you want to be in a Lincoln, you're looking at either a previous gen 2.7 liter to get 3,500 pounds, or you could bump yourself up to the Aviator instead. Getting into the trunk of the Nautilus can be done a few different ways. There's a button to the left-hand side of the steering wheel. You can use the key fob. Underneath the second L in Lincoln, there's a button that you can push to open up. And then there's also the option for a hands-free liftgate. So all you're going to do is just swipe in order to raise up that liftgate. The only downside to the foot-activated power is that if the sensors are covered in snow, it's not going to work, but that's where all the other ways to get inside come into play. Then, in the trunk, there's a lot of space, but not too much from a feature perspective. So off to the right-hand side, there's only a little light. Off to the left, there's a 12-volt power point, and then releases for the second row seats. And underneath that tray, you're going to find the mini spare tire, and then you've got the jack off to the right side. So if you ever pop a tire, puncture a tire, all of the pieces are there. You could change the tire out yourself if you wanted to. But one of the benefits of being a Lincoln owner is that you do have access to roadside assistance. And that's good for the same length as the powertrain warranty. So it's 6 years with 110,000 kilometer or 70,000 miles coverage. Fuel delivery, winching, lockout services, tire changing, and a number of other useful things. So if you are concerned if something happens, call an 800 number and you're set to go, or change it out yourself. Folding down the second row seats can be done from the second row, so you're just going to pull that lever in order to fold the seats down, but you can also fold them down from the trunk. So there's a button along the left side, so you can fold down the left or the right side independently. It's a power release, but it's manual backup. And then one nice thing is that the second row seats can also be slid forwards or backwards. So if you needed to create a little bit of extra space, you can slide those seats forward a little bit more to get even more cargo depth in behind the second row seats without folding them down. And then the cargo measurements that you're looking at, specifically behind the first row, is from where the liftgate would close to just in behind that armrest, the console between the first row seats. So you'd gain or lose a little bit of extra space depending on how far forward or backwards those first row seats are. And then one nice thing is that if you've got a Nautilus that has the foot-activated liftgate, you can kick to open, but you can also kick in order to close. That's pretty cool. Filling up fuel inside of the Nautilus is done just along the driver's side. Inside of the regular gas engine, it's an unlocked cover, but inside of the hybrid, it's locked. In the first row, there's a button that you're going to push in order to be able to pop that open. And it is a capless system that has anti-siphon technology built in. When you look at fuel quality inside of the vehicle, doesn't matter if you're in the regular 2-liter or the 2-liter hybrid, minimum manufacturer's recommendation is just regular 87 gas. So 87 octane is all you technically need to use. But the horsepower and torque specs are all achieved using a premium fuel. So do you have to use one? No. If you want the best possible performance, at least in 91. But like I said, it's not necessary. Now the question of, is it worth looking at the hybrid in comparison to the regular gas engine? It's going to depend on how much you drive. In Canada, the hybrid engine is an extra $3,500. In the States, it's $2,000. So depending on how much fuel you use over the year, it might take you a bit to recoup that investment. Because when you look at the overall fuel economy, you are getting about 20% better fuel economy in the hybrid in comparison to the regular gas engine. So if you tend to use, let's say, $3,000 a year in fuel, 20% means you're saving $600 a year. Over the course of 4 to 6 years of ownership, you'll end up more than recouping your investment at that point. You do also get more power, though, inside of the hybrid. So it's going to be a delicate balance to figure out if it makes sense for you to look at the hybrid or not. It's new technology, but there haven't really been many owner complaints, specifically looking at the hybrid version of the vehicle as of yet. So in my books, I would say that for the right buyer, the hybrid is probably worth it. This vehicle is in the red carpet metallic exterior. And while red is typically not my go-to, I've been getting compliments in this car all week so far. Black looks really sharp though, especially when you get the jet appearance package like what we're looking at here. The Nautilus is only available with seating for 5, so if you want more seating options, you're bumping yourself up to the Aviator or the Navigator. And then getting inside, the first row, oh, so nice. Straightforward, and into the second. Equally as easy. See there, the side view mirrors inside of the Nautilus feature turn signals. There's also that side-mounted camera as part of that 360 view. The glossy highlight for the Nautilus badge looks stunning. And there's also a little keyhole there in case your fob's ever died. There's that 5-digit number pad on the outside, and then the new handle there with beautiful interior. Look at that start up there. Looks stunning. But the highlights along the door here are going to be the same across the lineup. So you've got your driver's seat memory there, Revel audio system. So there are a few different speaker choices available inside of the vehicle. Explain that one in a second. You've got a little bit of door storage there as well. Now this is the Reserve 203A package, which gives you this upgraded seat that's got the option of adjusting each individual leg cushion. But as always, in any vehicle, any version, you can move the seat forwards, backwards, up and down, multi-way back support, and then lumbar support there as well. There's this little button, which I'll explain that one in a second. But hopping inside. Ooh, do a full start up here. Look at that. Oh, that's nice. Beautiful. I love that. The door highlight there as well. Watch this. When you go to open up the door, changes color as well. You can see footwell lighting along the very bottom. So there's ambient light available in here as well. Oh, but this is nice. This glossy highlight right there, essentially got cameras in there for Lincoln's hands-free driving. So Blue Cruise is now standard. Well, standard for the 2025 model. You get 4 years of coverage. But if you want a full walkthrough, like you want to know how to use the different steering wheel buttons, navigate through the infotainment system, customize the display, you'll find full walkthroughs down in the description of this video. But there are so many things. So your push button start there. The infotainment system here is going to be standard across the lineup, and it is feature packed. There's heated and ventilated first row seats, heated steering wheel available there as well. But like I said, feature packed. So if you want a full walkthrough on the vehicle and the infotainment system, you'll find it down below. But having all of the options, yeah, you can see there. For different color lights, it is solid and lit up at night. It's so good. You can adjust the brightness there, change out the ambient light color, whatever the case may be. Really customize it and make it your own. But remember that little button that I showed you on the side of the seat? So you can adjust the seat a bunch of different ways this way, but by pushing that little button, that's also going to activate your massage chair seats. And then massage chair, you've got a boatload of different options available, and you can control that using the switch down by the side there as well. So when you push that button, that can turn the seats on, off. You can adjust it into 3 unique levels as well. It feels really, really good. And that's the same for the driver and for the passenger side in the first row. You've got full YouTube video playback support here. You can go full screen. For the Nautilus, now this is for the 2024 plus models, but super useful. So that's actually a useful video. So some key fob tricks inside of the new Nautilus, but you'll find that video down in the description of this video. But you've got full video playback as long as you're parked. Because the second you put yourself into drive, the feature doesn't work, but it's really cool that you can watch YouTube videos right in the screen. The maps are based off of Google Maps. So this is not Sync 4. This is the Lincoln's operating system based off of Android. So it's essentially a full Android tablet. There's Waze that's available and so many other features. It is really cool. There's even the option for games. There are 3 different speaker options that you're going to find inside of the Nautilus. So it's either going to be a 10 speaker, 14 speaker, or this Revel audio system instead. And there are speakers all over the place, but Let's go through and let's look for... What? That's plugged in. Hold on. Let's go through here. I'll be able to pull it down this way instead. There we go. USB. All right. So there are a bunch of, if we go explore device, yeah, there we go. So there are video files on this device, but you can see there, it's only giving me the option for the audio file. So it would be nice to see video playback, but let's go through some audio here. So the audio that we're listening to is just coming out of the microphone here. So there's no post-processing done on this. All right, so that nice audio there. If we drop back down, let's choose a little bit more of like a rock rap type of a song instead. So it's gonna give you a better idea of what this sounds like.
And when you're making money, make sure you don't spend it too soon. I got a different path from everyone, and that includes you. Who are you to tell me how to live life? In these times, it feels like nobody's right. Yeah, so I'ma figure.
The audio inside of this car is so good. Obviously, because this is the upgraded Revel audio system, the lower 14 speaker sounds good. It's just not this good. But the question you have to ask yourself, you have to either be in the Black Label or the Reserve 203A in order to get this upgraded system and the massage chair seats. And it's almost $10,000 to do that. So is it worth 10 grand to get a better audio system and the massage chair seats? I'm going to leave that choice up to you. But it is a matter of preference. It sounds so good at the same time. Tons of different options through the screen. There are piano key shifters here. So park, reverse, neutral, drive with the dedicated low gear. There's a wireless charge pad here. A few cup holders, 2 USB ports, so a USB Type-C, and then, oh yeah, that's not gonna happen, a little slidable storage cover there as well. You've got a few power points down here, so there's a 12 volt, and then 2 USB Type-C charge ports there as well. This, you could pull out, but locked in. Oh yeah, there we go, yeah. I'm gonna leave that in there. And then this little guy, cartridges for the digital sense. So there are 3 unique scents that are available right now. Whew, but even just having this down, I can smell them. Whew, force is strong with you. Then one other thing to point out is down low, you've also got a teeny little storage tray down there as well. But I love that. That 48-inch screen is stunning. Nice highlights throughout. Stitching there. There's a glove box that's non-lockable. A good amount of space. The visibility overall is solid. And then up overhead, there's an auto-dimming rear view mirror. There are also controls for the sunroof. Look at this. So it pops up and over, but it's very subtle. And the outside profile looks really good. There's a sunglasses holder up overhead. HomeLink system, so if you've got a garage door opener, you can program it in. There's a ticket receipt holder on the outside and on the inside. And then there's also a vanity mirror with lights built in. And this extends out, blocking all of the sun. So it's just standard features across the new Nautilus lineup. But this is good. And hold on. Space-wise, I'm going to get that seat down as far back and down as it'll go. And with me sitting fully upright, 6 feet tall, and I've got probably 5 inches of headspace there, like 4.5, 5 inches, which is pretty solid. So taller people, you won't have an issue sitting inside of this car. And then, because this one has memory, just push, look at this, in order to set it back up. So it can remember your driver's seat, your steering wheel because it's power, and then also your side view mirrors. And then all you're gonna do is just push and hold either 1, 2, or 3. Door handle there to get out. Oh, but look at this. Oh, damn, that's nice. All right, and into the second row. There are no sunshades for the doors, but you've got a lot of the same highlights here. Your door handle there, window control, and some bottle storage. Hopping inside. Oh, there we go. So as I mentioned, so I've got the driver's seat set up for myself being 6 feet tall, and in the second row, good amount of foot space, knee space, and head space. Like sitting fully upright, ooh, what's that? About 3? I'd say about 3 inches of head space there. the lever that you'd use along the side in order to fold the seat down. You can also give yourself a very slight recline, which opens it up even more. So probably the same 6'4", you'll be able to fit in the second row of the Nautilus. There we go. Fitting 3 full-size adults back here. Might be a little bit tight depending on how big people are, but not impossible at the same time. And with me in the middle seat, sitting fully upright, my head is touching. So if the shade is closed, chances are my head would be touching the shade. But I could slouch back a little bit and I fit no problem. The middle seat is not comfortable by any stretch. It's like the forgotten seat in every manufacturer's cars. But still though, the outboard seats are comfortable. And even looking at the foot space here, so there's a little hump. It's not too bad though. And then there's also, you're gonna be able to make it out, a little bit of footwell lighting down there as well. You can just kind of see it. Just right there, a little bit. But in behind the seats here, you've got heated outboard seats as an option, and that's strictly gonna be the outboard. So the middle seat, never gonna be heated. And then down low, there's also a little wall plug back there too. There's some vent controls, pockets behind both the passenger and the driver's side. And then one thing that I love Lincoln did out of Kia Hyundai's book is they have some USB ports right in the seats there as well. So 2 USB Type-C power points. So you can plug up a boatload of devices back here. Outside of that, got a little handle in order to pull down. And then, this is it. Look at this. So you've got some cup holders built right into the seat there. And then this, it's actually surprisingly heavy, like surprisingly weighted there. And then as you lift up, there you go, straight forward. Anchor points are there. Top tether points are behind the seats in case you need them. There's a handle, hook, and a light on the passenger and on the driver's side. So a little handle, hook, and then a little overhead light as well. But the car here is nice overall. I really enjoy the Nautilus. When you look at the hybrid in comparison to the regular gas engine, the feature sets are virtually identical. It's just that the hybrid version of the vehicle has better fuel economy and more power. The handling, so good inside of this ride. The power is definitely there. And one awesome thing, Blue Cruise, full hands-free driving. So it's not that it's a step above last year's system where it was adaptive cruise control with lane centering. This is complete hands-free driving. So you do have to keep your eyes on the road. There are cameras that are watching where you're looking, but if you're not focused, if you're looking over, if you've got a cell phone in front of you, you're staring at that instead, you're gonna get notifications inside of the cluster head-up display, however you want to put it, saying that you've got to pay attention and that you eventually do have to take over if you're not paying attention. So from a safety perspective, it's amazing. This is so cool. I love Lincoln's hand-free system so much. Oh, this is so good. And it can help out with full lane changing as well. So all you'd have to do is hit the turn stalk to go left or right. It's going to check to make sure that there's nobody in that lane, automatically move you over, which is pretty cool. It's extremely quiet inside of this car too. The active noise cancellation that Lincoln has inside of the Nautilus is top notch. Like top notch. You can barely hear any road noise inside of this car. It is ridiculous. You're only going to find the Lincoln Nautilus available all-wheel drive, which I don't think is necessarily a bad thing. It's going to handle way better in comparison. I mean, that is buttery smooth. Oh, damn. That's really nice. Let's do a little 180. That's pretty good. Turning radius is pretty solid there. All right, and then back up to speed. Quick. But like I said, the handling inside of this ride is so good. So, do you look at the Lincoln Nautilus Hybrid as your next vehicle? I think the big deciding factor is going to be how much you drive and whether or not you want a little bit of extra power. For the extra couple $1,000s, it could be worth it if you're going to be balanced out from a fuel economy perspective, or if you just want something new and exciting. But you can find a build link for this Nautilus down in the description of the video, along with links off to Lincoln Canada and US to find a direct build link there instead. But if you found this video useful, give it a thumbs up, share it with someone if you think they might find it helpful. And until I see you next time, take care. Your basic warranty is going to be a 4-year, 70,000 kilometer or 50,000 mile. The powertrain. Whew. I love that liftgate feature. There is a downside, and that it's the